Hi, and welcome back to Range of Sounds. Today we're going to go over three of the best drumsticks for jazz drumming. Jazz drumming is going to be a little bit different than traditional rock or metal drumming. A lot of rock is done straightforward in 4/4 time, with the kick, snare on the 1, 2, 3, and 4. Whereas jazz is a lot more about articulation, ghost notes, and it's kind of like the cymbals, particularly the ride and the hi-hat, kind of lead the drumming. Whereas in rock and metal, it's more of the kick and the snare. Now, the kick and snare are still important in jazz drumming, but it just has a bit of a different feel. And it is a fairly challenging drumming style. I am not a good jazz drummer, as you'll see in the demonstrations. I do play with a jazz group from time to time locally here. It really pushes me out of my comfort zone. I'm much more of a metal and rock drummer. So the three sticks we've chosen today, the first is the Firth SD2 Bolero. It's a much thicker stick, definitely the thickest stick that we have. The next one we have is the
Zildjian.
5A. These are both going to be in maple. And then the third stick is the Vater 7A Manhattan. And this one is a hickory stick. So how do you choose the right drumstick? Well, there's a lot of different factors when you're looking at drumsticks. So I traditionally have always played Firth 7A. So I naturally like a smaller and lighter drumstick. I've never been a fan of 5As, but that's a great place for people to start. So that's a really typical starting point is the 5A, but I've always found a lot more comfort in 7A. While I do typically play rock and metal, I don't play super loud and super aggressive. I have a lot of kind of articulation, ghost note kind of things I do when I play. So 7As suit me a lot better for that. And that's typically kind of the range where a lot of jazz sticks are going to be kind of in that 7A. So there's different factors obviously to look for. The stick size, the material. We said most of these are maple. The Vic Firth here that I use is hickory, actually, along with that Vater. So it just depends on there. You're going to look at tip material. So typically we have wood or nylon. All the ones we're demoing today are wood tip, but nylon is very popular, especially in jazz drumming as well. Now remember, there is no one stick for jazz drumming. Any stick would, in theory, work well for jazz drumming, but there are some that kind of work better and accentuate that genre and what we're trying to accomplish in jazz drumming.
All right, first up is the Vater Manhattan 7A, which gets our overall best drumstick for jazz drumming. Let's take a listen. So, that overall winner, the Manhattan 7A by Vater. So, the big difference with this drumstick is that it is a little bit longer than traditional 7A drumsticks. As you could see in that first overlay in the intro, the one to the right of it is my normal Vic Firth 7As, and it is considerably longer. So, it's right up there with those larger 5A sticks. Now, some people might not like that. I didn't mind it. The weight was a little bit different than what I'm used to, but I really did like those small tips on there compared to the Vic Firth tips and the other tips of the drumsticks. So overall, it gets our best rating. It checks all of the boxes for jazz drumming. You can't go wrong with this drumstick. All right, next up is the winner of the best thick stick, and that's the Vic Firth SD2 Bolero. Let's take a listen. All right, so the first thing that blew me away with this drumstick is that based on how big it was, I thought it was going to be extremely heavy, but it's actually about as light as my normal Firth 7As. In fact, it was lighter than that Vater Manhattan stick, so I was shocked at how light it was. Overall, I didn't like the feel of it in my hand just because I'm used to a smaller stick, but I think this is going to be an excellent choice for somebody that's used to those bigger sticks like the 5As and are trying to get some jazz drumming in and needs a little bit lighter stick. So this stick is kind of the perfect segue between the larger rock and metal, heavier kind of 5A sticks, and then those lighter sticks that are better suited for jazz. So although I didn't like the feel of it, I loved the weight of it, and it was very, very easy to articulate with this stick. All right, last up we have the best 5A sticks for jazz drumming, and that's the Zildjian 5A sticks. All right, there you have it, the best 5A sticks for jazz drumming. Now, I'm going to be honest, this was my personal favorite stick. The qualities might not be there for all jazz drummers. That's why we went with that Vater 7A. 7A, again, is traditionally more of a jazz stick, but this is by far the most comfortable 5A drumstick I've ever had. In fact, I might buy a few of these to start playing with along with my Firth 7As. They're extremely light. They're not as thick as a lot of the other 5As I've played with. The articulation is fantastic, and I really enjoyed playing this drumstick. This is going to be an excellent stick as well for some of those 5A more rock metal drumstick players to transition to some more jazz-based stuff.
All right, there you have it, our list of the 3 best drumsticks for jazz. Now again, there's not one distinct stick for jazz, but hopefully you were able to hear all of them sounded pretty similar, but how I felt playing them were a little bit different. None were bad, all were really, really good. I would recommend these to anybody. If you're interested in reading our article, the link is in the description below. Also, links to the 3 sticks on Amazon as well. Have a great day.